Yes, hello, I'm back again today. This is the 1st of April, and as they say in Nigeria, at the beginning of every month, it's a wonderful thing that you started a new month. I receive messages from people saying Happy New Month, Happy New Month, Happy New Month. And this is April, okay? So we are beginning the second quarter of the year, all right? So, yeah, this is the second 3 months of the year we're about to begin. Time flies fast. Before you know it, it is June, and that is half the year. Before you know it, is September, and that is 3/4 of the year. Before you know it, the year is out. So, happy new month to all of you DPA members. Now, I want to give you a little update on a case we handled, or we were involved in Bayelsa recently. That is the case of the MLA okay? You know, in 2019, the husband of Gloria Emeleda went and filed a petition in court asking for dissolution of their marriage. Mrs. Emeleda is a typical Nigerian woman, subservient, obedient, and submissive to her husband. Because in her understanding, that is what the man wanted. On the other hand, her husband is an aggressive fellow, domineering, demanding, so you may as well say a typical Nigerian man. He filed for petition, divorce. This woman did not have money. Now, she had been a housewife, taking care of their 3 daughters. Apparently, Mr. Emeleda got bored by his marriage. He wanted a change of scene, as many people do. A lot of the time when divorce is happening, it's not because anybody changed. It's not because your wife or your husband became dramatically different from what you thought. No, it's not your partner that changed, it's you that changed. You wanted something different. You want new faces, new environment, new action, marriage could become monotonous. And human beings often need variety. Marriage doesn't offer you much room in terms of variety. You are stuck with the same person for the rest of your life if you go through with your marriage vows. So this man went to court in 2019 and filed for a divorce petition to dissolve the marriage. The woman managed to get a lawyer. The lawyer was struggling. The woman had no money, so she got a lawyer, and who apparently also, worked in accordance with what was paid to her. So the case was going badly for Mr. Emeleda. The case progressed. Mr. Emeleda was charging. He had an aggressive lawyer. So towards the end, in 2021, all argument closed, all trial closed, evidentiary processing closed. It was now in a time to approach judgment. So the lawyers submitted what we call in Nigeria final written address. Final written address is akin to what we call the closing argument in the United States. So that is when the lawyer summarizes her case, her evidence, the procedures, and puts it all before the judge and say, give me judgment. That's the final written address. But Ms. Emeleda had a premonition. She realized that the effort of her lawyer, that all they did were not strong enough to give her judgment, as compared to the very strong, aggressive lawyering from her husband's side. So instead of sitting down and waiting for the inevitable doom, Ms. Emeleda contacted DPA. She said, help me. We looked at her case. We looked at what they presented. We were convinced that there was no way she could get judgment based on such skeletal presentation by her and her lawyer. They didn't even call witnesses. DPA decided to help her, but she had no money. No money at all. We looked at this case. We found something exceptional about it. There was something manifestly unjust if this man would be allowed to change his wife the way you change your car. Just dump her and move on. We said no. So we rallied DPA members. We called our members and said, please help us raise money. We need to mobilize lawyers for this case. Our members contributed here and there. We got something. We mobilized our DPA lawyers from Warri to Bayelsa. They moved in. We strategized. We planned how to approach this case, bearing in mind that the case was at its final stage. Indeed, we were not even sure that the judge would let us in. I thought the judge was going to say, oh, you can't come in. It's too late. Everything is finished. But we made a passionate argument. We told the judge this is a fundamental matter of justice. We can't be shut out on the basis of time that a woman's right to justice was in grave danger. Therefore, we asked the court to reopen trial, to reopen the case. It's difficult to do this in matrimonial cases. But the judge listened, and the case was reopened. We were allowed to introduce new document, new evidence. In January this year, the judge gave his judgment. She gave judgment for Mrs. Emeleda. Instead of the dissolution of the marriage the man had applied for, Mrs. Emeleda had applied for judicial suppression. Her argument was simple, that the ground for dissolution did not exist, that there was no justification for dissolution of the marriage. However, she admitted that the marriage had broken down. Therefore, she asked for judicial suppression. The husband asked for dissolution, which would have enabled him to move on, marry someone else. The woman asked for suppression, to allow temper to cool, to study the situation, to gradually determine how to transition to a new life. She won, the husband lost. But not only that, the court awarded money to her, monthly payment of $100,000 for her upkeep and the children. The court also awarded custody of the 3 children to the man, to the woman, sorry. The man had applied for custody, hoping he would get custody, get the house, get everything, and the wife would be sent away. That was how he calculated it, but that's not how it happens in DPA. So the woman got that. The woman got money for upkeep of the children, for upkeep of herself. She got the house, and the court also gave her the car. The Lexus car was given to the man. But there was something funny. The court did not specifically tell the man to leave the apartment, the house. So the man got the judgment. Even though he lost, he behaved as if he didn't lose. He remained in the house. And he felt that because he remained in the house, there was no need to give her money. But if the girls wanted anything, he would give it to her, to them. So he wanted to be spending the $100,000 that was supposed to be given to the wife. He wanted to spend it on her behalf. What about the vehicle? He didn't give the vehicle to the woman. He said she doesn't like driving. So this woman was a very quiet, cool woman. So she took about 2 months to complain to us that the man was not abiding by the judgment of the court. We contacted the man, contacted his lawyer. We advised him to comply fully with the judgment, otherwise there will be consequences. When the man saw our letter, instead of complying, what did he do? He attacked his wife. The man attacked the wife. He did not know that everything was video recorded. He assaulted his wife. He didn't know that everything was captured on video. So what's going on? We are now going to seek to have the man arrested and imprisoned for assault. And we're going to commence contempt proceedings against him. This is a typical case of what happened when you have a bad lawyer. His lawyer misadvised him. His lawyer gave him the impression that he could stay in the house when the court had already ordered judicial separation, awarded the house to the woman. That's one thing. The court gave her the house. The court gave her custody. The court did not give the parties the house. So it was very clear that the court did not want them to remain together. In fact, the court said that their obligation to cohabit had been suspended by virtue of separation, judicial separation. That is the challenging case we have. Well, it's challenging because it's interesting, but not because it is difficult in terms of the lawyer required. The case is finished. We won the case. The woman is okay as far as the law is concerned. We now have to make sure that the man is placed where he belongs, as someone who could violate the law, as someone who has no respect for judgment of the court, someone who has by implication become a criminal. From family law dispute to a crime. That is something you should avoid. Any man listening to me this moment, you should avoid it. If the judgment doesn't favor you, don't worry. There are ways to appeal the judgment. There are ways to challenge a judgment you disagree with. But don't disobey the judgment. Don't ignore the judgment. There could be consequences if you do. Thank you.